We have some very strange developments once again in the Marilyn Manson forced fun time accusations. Like, listen, that Ashley Morgan Smithline, she was very, very strong in her accusations until she wasn't, and then it was like, lol, I just lied about everything. Nobody worry about me or anything like that. It was all Evan Rachel Wood and her team that made me do it. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. We're supposed to just go ahead and forgive your debauchery and your role in this situation. Okay, great. So I won't forget you, bitch. You're just going to be off in the corner for the time being. Now we're just going to be focusing on Evan Rachel Wood for a minute because, well, she's having to do damage control when it comes to this because, help me, I'm a perpetual victim. Sure you are, sweetheart. Marilyn Manson, EPAR accuser, pressured to a recent claim. Oh, to recant claims, sorry. Evan Rachel Wood asserts judge rejects singer's attempt to add new declaration to the case against the Westworld actress. Why is that exactly? Let's find out. In the latest twist in the Marilyn Manson battle against allegations of sexual crimes, Evan Rachel Wood is rejecting claims she coerced another woman, Ashley Morgan Smithline, into saying the shock rocker raped her. Saying instead the accuser was pressured to recant. What are we doing here? Okay, I never pressured or manipulated Ashley Morgan Smithline to make any accusations against plaintiff Brian Warner, and I certainly never pressured or manipulated her to make accusations that were not true. Well, what about your claims, though? I think they're pretty sus. It was Ms. Smithline who first contacted me in March of 2019. The Westworld series is canceled. Actress said in the document, Ms. Smithline has always told me that she was abused by Mr. Warner, and then she came out and lied, and it's like, oh shit, well, I was basing all of my stuff off of your accusations, and then she came back and said, well, I was basing all of my claims off of your accusations, and then they kissed or something, I don't know. Woods bluntly stated in the declaration, the recent stark about face by Smithline, a month after her 2021 lawsuit against Manson Warner was dismissed by default, came as attorneys for the much accused singer, and Wood argued in court today over whether the model's declaration should be allowed in Manson's March 2022 case against the former fiancé and her abuse allegations. Well, it seems pretty relevant given that some of the underlying evidence is predicated on those AMS claims as well. Not the good AMS, but the lying AMS. After scolding Manson Warner's lawyers for not deposing Smithline earlier. Wait, what? Oh my god, you guys are idiots. Judge Teresa Bedeau told the assembled attorneys in Department 50 that she was denying the performer's motion to have the model's declaration entered into the case. All right then. Okay, as various cases or other cases against Manson settled or were tossed out. Oh, okay. Well, oh, that makes more sense why she's suing as well, because her show's canceled and the checks aren't coming from Warner anymore. Oh well, not Brian Warner, but Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. Okay, because that's who owns HBO. Where the stupid Westworld was one good season, a bunch of woke shit in the aftermath. Imagine that. Anyways, Wood's lawyer Michael J. Kump has said in another filing yesterday that Smithline's declaration is inadmissible. Okay, and also asserts that any manipulation or pressure came from a source other than his activist client. Yo, if you even Deadline sneaking that in there, yo, her case is just DOA. You'll love to see it. In sum, plaintiff asks the court to believe that Smithline has somehow pressured into making false accusations when other women shared their experiences with her and allegedly talked about repressed memories. Even though Smithline was one who reached out to Wood about the plaintiff's abuse. Yeah, does that really change anything? Because again, when we covered this a couple days ago, Smithline was talking about how that, well, I wasn't even sure, but then I met up with Wood, and then she's like telling me that, yeah, girl, definitely something happened to you. Even if you don't remember, you've probably just repressed it. And then she was like, oh my god, I can sue and get some money. And she's like, girl, you bet. And then they just all decided to file a bunch of frivolous lawsuits. Weird. But the real pressure Smithline faced was to not make allegations against the plaintiff, but it was to retract them. Sorry, what? Smithline's declaration was therefore wholly unreliable. Yeah, somebody's trying to run PR attempts right here, because it's like, okay, cool, you guys were supposed to be this united front going against the evil Marilyn Manson, but then when one dropped out because, lol, none of this makes sense, well, all of a sudden, no, she's lying, and you can't rely on her. It'll be funny if this ever does go to trial, if it makes it through all of these motions, when the Manson side calls the would-be accuser to the stand to completely wreck shop on Evan Rachel Wood. You'll love to see it. Okay, so he continues. The screen grab accompanying Wood's declaration, Smithline appears to indicate repeatedly the Manson's lawyer, Howard King, has been trying to get in touch with her. That would make sense because he was anticipating an adverse relationship with her, but then all of a sudden it comes out that you're lying. Outside of being utterly furious, I think you'd want to have a conversation with her. In the spotlight himself, King insists the focus should be on Wood. Well, of course it should be, and it is right now. It's just the external parties that are more focused on this. It is unsurprising that Evan Rachel Wood is desperately fighting to keep Ashley Smithline's testimony out of court. Yeah, it makes total sense. Because she knows the truth will expose her plot to manipulate the woman who trusted her in order to destroy Brian Warner, says the King, Holmes, Paterno, and Sereno partner before Tuesday's hearing. Brian Warner never abused anybody. Ashley Smithline has told the truth. Sort of. It's sadly predictable that Evan Rachel Wood, someone who has already filed a forged FBI letter under oath. Sorry, what? I haven't been following this case that closely, but it's about to change in other court proceedings. Remains committed to not doing the same. Stepping aside for the second of who allegedly pressured who, there is no doubt that Smithline appears in Phoenix Rising, director Amy Berg's film about Wood's allegations against Manson, and her decision to go public with the claims from their 2007 to 2010 relationship. Sitting at the heart of the Manson suit against Wood, Phoenix Rising debuted at a virtual 2022 Sundance Film Festival. Why does all this funky shit come out of Sundance Film Festival? Wasn't that the one that was also was Sundance, or was that Tribeca that was founded by somebody with a less than legal taste in women? That could be confusing it, but it's all Hollywood at the end of the day. They're all scumbags. And a two-part documentary premiered on HBO in the spring of that film. But yeah, there was another documentary about how those very legitimate, very real claims against Justice Kavanaugh were also put out there in a documentary. Oh, he's a terrible person, until you go to check the record and it's like, oh, everybody lied. Huh, weird how all of this shit ends up coming to light eventually. Not after you ruin somebody's reputation, first and foremost. Yeah, you know, you can just go ahead and do that because nobody gets held accountable. It's almost like that shit needs to change first, despite Manson's best legal efforts to shut it down. The year before, Smithline sued Manson in federal court for sexual assault. Interesting, and now she gets to get off scot-free? Oh, maybe it's just one pin at a time. Sexual battery, human trafficking, how funny, and more stemming from their interactions between 2010 and 2013. At the time, Smithline detailed claims of a steady and escalating pattern of abuse from Manson, including choking and cutting her. As he has in all allegations against him, the Beautiful People singer has denied all claims. Well, if he was cutting her, there should be scars to probably back that up, but when asked to provide evidence, she just went lol, made it all up, and they're like, all right, that's fine. Losing her own lawyer and missing key court dates, yes, Smithline's case collapsed in early January, and then, yeah, just a couple of days ago, it got revealed that Oopsie Daisy made it all up, and her close associate, Ashley Gore, a co-defendant in Manson's case, interesting, who put notions of abuse in her head, soon followed to further muddy the waters, as did Smithline's own new declaration. It'd be weird to see how she ends up shaking out in this entire situation. All of which obfuscates the situation even more, no matter whether Smithline's declaration was entered into the case in support of Manson's moves against Wood's anti-SLAPP moves or not. That's the motion that needs this defamation lawsuit needs to pass, because this is filed in California, and an anti-SLAPP law is supposed to be used to filter out these superfluous lawsuits that come forward. It takes a look at most of the evidence that's already out there and sees if there's a reasonable degree that a defamation lawsuit would succeed in a court, and this wouldn't be a waste of everybody's time. It's mostly been used in recent years as justification to believe all women, and it just ends up, you know, as a get out of jail free card, so none of these bitches end up getting held responsible. And because there wasn't a third-party intermediary like there was in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, where you could sue or use the Washington Post and its distributor in Virginia as venue there, because there's no anti-SLAPP there. There's anti-SLAPP in California, Texas, and a couple of other big states that are out there. It doesn't matter if it's red or blue. Simps are going to simp regardless of political affiliation. So don't just get mad if this is California. If it was filed in other large districts too, there would still be a hurdle to overcome. Indeed, those headlines will likely impact public opinion even after Smithline's declaration is wholly discredited. Well, she was pretty integral into developing a pattern of abuse at the hands of Marilyn Manson, only to come out to say that, no, actually, Evan Rachel Wood was the one that made all of this stuff up, and I just parroted it. So, you know. Yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Smithline reached out to Wood, plaintiff's abuse, more than a year before Smithline's now claims defendants somehow convinced her that she was abused. Okay, so are you just trying to say, actually, no, you were abused? Like, are you just using these gaslighting techniques once again, but just now out in public? It's not making you look good. All right, Manson's 2022 lawsuit against Wood came just more than a year after the Emmy nominee went online and called out her now 54-year-old ex for horrifically abusing and grooming her during their 3-year relationship. Get fucked. I'm tired of seeing that whole, oh, grooming. It's like, were you guys consenting adults or not? Just shut the fuck up. Which took place when Wood was in her teens. All right, that changes things just a bit. 18, 19, because that makes a big difference too. I don't really know, and I don't really care. During their 3-year relationship, which took place, yeah, when Wood was in her teens. How old is this bitch? So she was born in 1987. Okay, she came forward with a relationship with Manson in 2007, which, ooh, by my account, would make her 19 or 20 years old. It's a far fucking cry from being in your teens at the time. But we already know that we can't really believe everything that she says, because everybody's lying except for me. Really does seem like a run back of the Depp Heard situation, and another very famous human trafficking case that's going on right now. I look forward to see all of the developments that's out there. The next hearing in the case is April 11th of Wood's anti-SLAPP motions. Yeah, that'll be the big one. If it gets past that, oh boy, do we got a big lawsuit on our hands coming up, either at the end of the year or the beginning of next year. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.